my ego is really aggressive. It comes up without me knowing. Only after the ego is gone do I find out. How can I manage my ego sooner? That is not uncommon. There's probably more than you, the questioner, who has that, who experiences that. As more presence arises, so first of all, it's important to invite presence into your life in ordinary situations when you're not being challenged by another person. The anger mostly is probably with people or situations, but most situations involve people. So be present when you're out in nature, by not labeling things, by observing in that state of alert attention. And presence then emanates more and more through you. This doesn't mean that necessarily you will, next time the ego comes up being aggressive, it comes up so quickly that you can't catch it in the moment. But as the presence in you grows, manifests more strongly, usually what happens is the time period that elapses after you've been taken over by anger gets shorter, until you reach a point where a few seconds after it's happened, you suddenly realize it's happened again. Whereas before you might have needed several minutes or even an hour. In some cases the next day you realize, what was that? When you had a huge drama with somebody, probably involving the pain body. Your pain body is probably predominantly has the anger vibration predominantly, and pain body that is not recognized as pain body becomes part of the ego. In the same way that any thought that you completely identify with becomes part of the ego. In the same way, an emotion that you completely identify with becomes part of the ego. Once you recognize the pain body as the pain body, then it is an energy field in you that still operates, but strictly speaking, it's no longer your ego. Ego can only operate as long as you're unconscious. So, although sometimes people say to me, I'm able to observe my ego now, in the way I use the term ego, that's no longer true. The moment you become aware of your ego, it's not really ego anymore. It is still a behavioral or mental, emotional pattern that operates in you, but you are present when you know that there is this pattern operating in you. Then you are not it. It operates in you and you are the space around it, which is the consciousness. You know it's there. Then before it was ego, yes. But when you recognize it for what it is, it's no longer ego. Ego means unconsciousness. Ego means complete identification. So whatever you recognize in yourself isn't really ego anymore. And so then, as presence grows in you, you reach a point when immediately after this episode, pain body episode, anger episode has just happened, you suddenly realize, oh, it happened again. And then I predict, if it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. A time comes, perhaps very soon, when in the middle of it, it already has taken you over, and you're shouting at someone, and in the middle of it you realize what's going on, that you've been taken over by that. You still may not be able to stop it, don't have to, but the awareness is there in the middle of it. And that may happen many times. And then you may find the awareness is there just the moment it begins to arise. The moment the anger pattern wants to come in, the awareness is also already there. Now, whether or not at this moment you can stop it, we don't know, and never stop it by suppressing it. You stop it simply by shining the light of awareness on it. That eventually stops it. So you can, and then at that, when there is presence is strong enough for that, then you actually begin to have a choice. Do I choose to engage in the same way through my pain body in this situation? Is this the best way of dealing with the situation? You may not literally ask yourself that question, but it is implied in that state of awareness. You have a choice. You're no longer at the mercy of the old conditioned pattern. And then it begins to dissipate.